I designed this Fair Isle pattern in a program that I bought online called Knitbird. You can also design on graph paper if you decide you want to design your own pattern. This is a 4-stitch repeat. So if you are designing your own pattern, make sure that you do one that has a 4-stitch repeat so that it matches what we're doing. If you notice when you start out from the brim, now my medium color is gold, and this is actually gold. The first hat that I made was in the colors of the Redskins, so I had gold and burgundy and white. This time I have gold and black and white because I'm making a Steelers hat. At any rate, take your medium color and you want to do 2 rows the whole way around, in my case, in the gold. Then I'm going to pick up the black and I'll have 2 gold stitches, a black stitch, 3 gold, a black, 3 gold, a black, 3 gold. The whole way around to my last stitch will be a gold stitch. If you haven't done Fair Isle before, you may be a little ambivalent. Don't be. Unlike in Tarsia, you don't have to interlock the stitches. And it's actually better if you don't, because that way your yarn doesn't get so mixed up. It gets really tangled when you are trying to interlock. At any rate, I'm back to the beginning. I know that because I have my marker here. I finished 2 rows in gold as my pattern calls for. My first 2 stitches on the next row will also be in gold. And then I need a black stitch. So I'm going to knit 2 gold. And earlier on, I told you don't cut your thread, whatever you're using as your brim, because it comes back into play again. And one of the mistakes that people make when they're knitting Fair Isle for the first time is they try to knit it too tight. The tension's too tight. So you want to make sure that you're lifting up your brim color so that it is going to be ready for the next stitch, but don't make it so tight that it actually puckers your work. So my next color is going to be black. Again, it would be your brim color, whatever that happens to be. Now I have a habit, and people knit Fair Isle in many different ways, but I have a habit of holding my thread so that I'm kind of rocking it back and forth when I'm knitting in 2 colors. There's actually 3 rows in this pattern where you're using 3 colors. But for now we're just using 2. I like to keep my dark thread in the back and my lighter thread in the front. Again, on this row I'm doing 3 gold, 1 black. So my next 3 stitches are gold stitches. So 1, and again, don't make it too tight. And if you want to drop your thread and pick up the other one, there's nothing wrong with that. Just because I do it one way doesn't mean you have to do it the same. And 3 gold. And 1 black. And I have to stop and push the stitches around the needles. It's a little easier to knit that way. 3 gold. And in my case, 1 black. Yours may be a different color. Your dark color may be blue. Whatever your sports team color is. 3 medium. 3 dark. And you're just going to continue on with that around to the end. See, you make a mistake, you gotta back up. Sometimes when you're talking, you make that mistake. No big deal, just back up. 3 gold. 1 black. And some people hold their yarn so that you have one color in one hand, another color in another hand. I don't find that to be comfortable. I prefer to knit like this. And if you do this correctly, your thread carries. You have what are called floats in the back. You don't want your floats to be too tight, because if they're too tight, the hat's going to pucker on the head. All right, so make sure that you're doing this so that it has a little bit of stretch to it. Okay, I'll be back in a minute.